But moving on to a great weekend of football that we had just watched, the NFC Championship highlights. What a game. I thought it was a good game. It was a great watch, obviously, in Lambeau there. Green Bay versus Tampa Bay. The Battle of the Bay. One cold, one hot. But, yeah, no, what a great game, obviously, I thought. What did you think about that game, Pat?
Yeah, unbelievable game. I'm going to be the first to admit I was wrong. I thought Green Bay would beat Tampa Bay by double digits. And I was totally wrong. You know, a lot of the Bucs played really well. Brady was unbelievable in the first half, then really struggled in the second half. But towards the end of the game, like he always does, he makes a couple of good plays to seal it for the Bucs. Rodgers was very good, but there were times when I thought Green Bay should have been more aggressive. Everybody's talking about not going for it on fourth down with 2 and change left in the game. And that's, I thought they should have gone for it. I think it's crazy that they didn't, because you're still down by 5. You still got to score a touchdown. So we could probably talk about that a little bit. But great game all around. I was surprised at how well some of the receivers played. I mean, Godwin still had a couple of drops, but still played well. He had some other plays where he was awesome. So he played really well. Mike Evans played well. Connor Brate had a couple of big catches. Gronk had a huge play in the second half. Not the same guy he was before, but had, you know, as we saw in New England, a lot of people probably didn't see it as much because they don't pay attention as much to the full Patriots games when he was with the Pats. But Gronk's such a good blocker at tight end, and you saw him making an impact as a blocker in that game as well. So I just think that was a huge effort by the Bucs, and I was actually surprised at how poorly Green Bay's defense played. They have a good defense, pretty good secondary. Linebackers aren't otherworldly. I think the Bucs linebackers are much better, but I was just surprised. You know, they seemed like they were on their heels, you know, caught back on their heels early in that game. It seemed like the Bucs came out flying, and the Packers almost weren't ready for it.
No, I agree, and I'm going to have to eat my crow too because I picked Green Bay to win as well. So, I mean, I'm going to take a little bit, but I will take a little bit of a toot of my horn because the guy that changed the game was Leonard Fournette. And I've been talking about this guy for weeks now, especially on the show, how he can catch out of the backfield. And he's really defined himself as a receiving back this year with a good quarterback like Tom Brady. But he really changed the game. He had a great game. I think Brady played great early, and it was defining. It stole the momentum where the Packers really had to fight back the whole game, and that was big, especially that play right before the half. I have no clue what Green Bay was doing defensively, and I don't have a clue what King was doing as a defensive back because you have to play deep. You have to be in prevent there. You cannot get beat deep ever in football, but especially at the end of the half right there with just seconds running off. And Brady was the veteran, saw it, threw it over the top to Scotty there, Scooter they call him, and boy, that kid can fly, and he was open, and I think that was the play that kind of broke the Packers back. I know they had played a better second half and they came back, but it was fighting back the whole time, and they just couldn't come back. And then as far as the coach's call there, you have to go for it there on fourth down. You might not ever get that close again. Obviously, they didn't get that close again. Tom Brady didn't give them the ball back. I think it's a bad idea to give the greatest quarterback of all time the ball with 2 minutes and the lead, and you clearly seen that. I think Matt LaFleur's obviously regretting that now. But it's just something that I know people have talked about the percentages, whether it's 9.5% chance to win if you kick the field goal compared to a 10.5% chance if you go for it on fourth down. But those percentages do not account for Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, and in a moment like that where I got to go with Aaron Rodgers and give him a chance to win the game at that point on fourth down against a Bucs secondary that was missing Jordan Whitehead, who got knocked out of the game. And Antoine Winfield did not play in the game, so it was a weakened Bucs secondary. I obviously think they got beat a few times where he really did take advantage of them. So I think you got to go with Aaron Rodgers at that point on fourth down and give him a chance to win it. They didn't. They gave the ball back to Tom Brady. Tom Brady does what he normally does and closes games out, going back to a 10th Super Bowl, and that's amazing in itself.
Yeah, and we're going to have, you know, next week, I'm sure we're going to get a lot into the quarterback matchup. We'll actually get into it a little bit towards later on in the show. But, yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you go back to that fourth down call, I know the percentages are very close, but I think what happens is with a younger coach, especially who doesn't have a lot of experience in these types of games, you kind of lean on, okay, well, what are the percentages say? And that's almost like, I don't want to say a crush, because it is smart to look at analytics. It is smart to look at those types of numbers to kind of see what's your best shot. But when it's that close, and you, like you said, you have Aaron Rodgers, you got to go for it. Even if the Packers don't get the touchdown, right? Even if they throw an incomplete pass or they get stopped inside the 5-yard line or whatever it is, you're still having the Bucs backed up inside their own 20-yard line. And then you saw the Bucs, on a play where they went for it on 4th down to seal the game. They're not running that play if they're inside their own 20-yard line. But because they were more closer to midfield, they could run that 4th down play. So, when a team is backed up, their confidence in their play calling is not the same as if they were, at the 30 or the 40-yard line. So I just think there was just a terrible call by the coach. And, the Packers are going to be good again next year if Rodgers stays. We're going to get into that a little bit later as well. But, it's just unfortunate because I think this year was Rodgers' best year to get another Super Bowl win because, every quarterback talks about winning the Super Bowl at least once. Then when you get one, now it's even more elite territory when you get 2, 3. And it's just unfortunate that because I think Rodgers is a top 10 quarterback of all time. And it's just unfortunate he didn't get that second one.